Hello, everyone. This is Cascadia News. I'm Eddie Smith with my co host, John Floresca, and we got a little bit to talk about today. First of all, FIFA just came out with all their information with what's going to come out in the new FIFA video game, FIFA 21. And uh, Portland, Providence Park is now in the game. So you get to now finally play in your home stadium. No more generic fields now. I'm pretty excited for that one as I'm pretty into the FIFA series.
That's really exciting news. Vancouver got in it pretty early because the Whitecaps, uh, the EA Sports is headquartered in Vancouver. Do I have that correct? So I think
Yes.
BC Place was put in FIFA a long time ago. Then shortly after came Seattle. CenturyLink Field got put in there, and people have been begging and screaming for Portland to get in this game, for Providence Park to be a stadium. They just put it in. I know I saw the video rendition of it, and they did a pretty good job with it. They made it look pretty authentic. Uh, the dark green, the forest green. I did not look to see if they have the log behind the goal. I actually should check that out, but that'd be
The,
super cool.
I wouldn't be surprised if they have it. I really do hope they
I,
have
I,
the
I
log.
hope that's something for us to go check now that we're talking about it. I didn't even think about that till just now.
When I saw the video of the field though, it looked like it was at midfield field level and it was really hard to see
Hmm.
anything.
Hmm.
So it would probably be hard to see behind the goal, but it it is something to definitely check out. Uh let moving on, Yedlin is back in the news about a possible move in the next couple weeks. We know from a few weeks ago that Seattle had said that they are very interested in going after him, but there's a lot to go through to get him on the Sounders. And there was a transaction that the Sounders just made. We'll get to that right after we talk about Yedlin because it's going to kind of tie in, I think. But there's a lot of teams in MLS that are looking at possibly getting Yedlin. I have a surprise team that I think he could go to. But who do you think he could go to?
Well, I do my research, and you talk about the fact that Yedlin has to go through the allocation order. The top two teams in the allocation order are Cincinnati and Vancouver. I will start off with Cincinnati. Cincinnati is a young team, a team that could use a player like DeAndre Yedlin. Is Cincinnati in the process of being able to or feel established enough that they could spend that much money on a right back position? That's where the big question mark comes in for me. I know that they're currently working on bringing in a center back. That's a much bigger need for them right now than right back. Of course, they could use Yedlin, but he's going to probably demand, or not demand, but need DP money unless he can be bought down with allocation money. Newcastle is going to be asking for a transfer fee. I honestly think since he says no thank you because of the fact that they're not ready to spend that type of money on that particular position. If Yedlin played center midfield, center defense, forward, maybe they would be more willing to fork up that money. But for somebody who's a wing back, it's really hard to spend the amount of money there. The other teams that are being kind of juggled around with, Chicago is one of them. They're trying to rebrand, and they say they could use the name, the U.S. men's national team player Yedlin, to help with their rebrand. Uh, I would hate this one. LAFC, they obviously, if they could find the money in the rest of spot for them, they're always playing for trophies. So that makes sense. A team like LAFC going for them makes more sense than a team like Cincy. Then you've got Nashville and Austin, both young teams. They kind of run off that same philosophy that Chicago would run off of, where they're looking for a a star, a big name to help bring in the crowd and get the fans revitalized. So those are the five names being thrown around. You have another name, which the reason I haven't said that second team on the allocation order yet is because I know you're going to want to take over. The number two team in the allocation order is the Vancouver Whitecaps. I don't see it happening. Eddie, what's your take?
I really do think it could happen. Uh, the reason why people are saying it probably will not happen with Vancouver is for the fact that they are a rival of Seattle and Yedlin is from Seattle. The reason why I could see it happening is one, Vancouver needs some defense. I mean, it's obvious that their defense is struggling. Two, Yedlin has two former teammates on Vancouver, so it would be quick for him to feel right at home. Also, it's less than 200 miles from Vancouver to Seattle. Yes, in this pandemic, you wouldn't be crossing the border all that much, obviously. But once the pandemic's over, when you're with Vancouver, I mean, you're still pretty close to home. And being with two former teammates, they're gonna make you feel at home.
Yeah, I think that is very good points. I You know that the Whitecaps already have the only DP wingback in the league in Ali Adnan. So if they got a right back as a DP, they would have two of their three DP spots in the wingback positions. I don't think that's going to make the Vancouver fans necessarily excited about the team. Yes, Yedlin's name is amazing. Yes, you want a player like Yedlin, but where's the offense? Where you want somebody in the middle, you want somebody up top. You don't want to spend that much money on your back line.
The
That's why not just from a rivalry standpoint, but from a team construction standpoint, I don't see how it's logical.
the thing I like about Yedlin though is the fact that yes, he's a right back, but he's a right back that pushes forward. He definitely attacks. And so you say there's a lack of attack there. He is an attacking player. He's an attacking right back. So he will be going in and crossing in the assists to Yedlin or not Yedlin to Montero.
Montero, Cavallini,
Yes.
very good points. I don't think Vancouver pulls the trigger on it. I just don't see them spending the money there. But I could be
It is a
wrong.
long shot. It is a
I,
long shot.
I could be wrong. They are actually much better shot to pick them up than Seattle. We will do the speculation game for Seattle though, just because it's fun to do. So if Seattle wanted Yedlin, they would have to pull lots of strings. First off, I think they're like 26th in the allocation order. They're way down there. So they're going to have to trade to get above some of these other teams. They don't have a DP spot. They don't have very much TAM money or anything like that. They just bought down Arriaga's contract mid-season. They have three true
That was and that was last season.
last season. Yeah. They have three true DPs in Joao Paulo, Nico Ladero, and Rui Diaz. So none of them can be bought down to free up a DP spot for him. So
I will say this though, because I don't want to miss it. Paulo is on a loan DP contract through the end of the season, with an option to buy his contract for 2 seasons. So there is that option of getting rid of a player that's obviously been a big addition to the club to get Yedlin back as a DP. I just don't see that happening. I can really see Seattle giving Paulo a 2-year extension.
right. I would much rather keep Paulo on this team, especially because of the fact that Leardom has been so good in the right back. The Sounders don't need an upgrade in right back. Obviously, you always would take an upgrade if you can, and it adds depth, all sorts of things. There's no denying that. I did see some people posting saying that, oh, I don't consider Yedlin an upgrade to Leardam. Well, then you obviously don't remember watching him in his EPL games where he does play really well. And he's, I think, 5 or 6 years younger than Leardam. So you're getting more youth there as well. I
Another
agree,
thing,
though. I'm totally fine with keeping Leardam, though.
yeah, another thing to note with Yedlin, uh, the MLS has been compared to England's championship, which is the second tier in their pyramid over there. And Yedlin, when Newcastle was relegated to the championship, Yedlin actually got the award for the best right back in the championship, or best defender in the championship. So that says a lot about what he could do in the MLS.
Yes. So now let's go back to ways the Sounders can make this possible. If it were to happen, I doubt it. They just signed left back Brad Smith, which is huge news. We're all really happy. He was one of the best left backs in the league last year when they won MLS Cup. Wonderful. Sounders got a left back. Why does that impact Yedlin? Well, they have three very solid left backs now. They've got Brad Smith, Nuhu, and Jovan Jones. There's some people throwing around. I wasn't the only one. I did throw it around on some message boards. I did see a couple other people comment, let's ship off Nuhu and get some TAM and an allocation spot. Maybe ship off Nuhu and Delem, because Delem doesn't need his spot once, Gustav Svensson and all the pieces are there. The Sounders can ship off some pieces to make it happen and get an allocation spot and do these things. But it's going to rely, even if they do those things, they still need two things to happen. They need to get enough TAM to buy down his contract so it's not a DP contract. And they need him to take a massive, massive pay cut, because if he keeps his current pay, he can't get bought down. So lots of ifs, and it's highly, highly doubtful. I don't think it's happening. As much as Sounders fans and Yedlin would probably love it to happen.
There's a part of me that thinks that Yedlin may not even come to MLS to start, especially if he is focused on coming back to Seattle, and he knows it's just not in the works right now. If Seattle can make it happen, they're going to make it happen. They'll let him know. But if Yedlin finds out that it's not in the works and he desperately wants to go to Seattle, I can see him going to another league. I could see him going to, I don't know, Turkey or Spain or one of the other countries out there to play for a team and wait it out until he can come back to Seattle, if Seattle is his ultimate goal.
A lot of people I see on the message boards are projecting him to end up either in England still or in Liga MX down in Mexico.
Oh,
That was
I didn't know about the Liga MX.
That was a few people who said that. Those are, I think, a lot of them are Sounders fans who don't want to see him at another MLS club. Reports are out that there is a ton of MLS interest. A ton of MLS interest. And if Yedlin really wanted to come to MLS, can't go to Seattle, but wanted to make a name for himself, could you imagine him being Austin FC's big signing, or one of Austin FC's big signings? He would love that. He would absolutely love to be one of the big 2 or 3 faces of a franchise, to help establish a franchise here in the US. And I know that there's a lot of players that would actually thrive for that role. That's part of why Carlos Vela made the move over here to LAFC. He's like, I have an opportunity to be the face of a franchise. Sure, why not? And that's why Miami has gotten the players they've gotten. So if he does come to MLS and not to Seattle, that's the place that I would hope to see him go. I don't want to see him out of Cincy. I don't want to see him, like you said, out of Vancouver. I think Austin would actually be a decent fit for him.
Yeah, I don't think that Cincy would be a good fit for him, just in general in the first place. I could definitely see Austin or any expansion club, for that matter. Yeah, to be the face of a brand new franchise, to be able to establish that franchise, I could see that happening. I don't really see too many other Western Conference clubs he could be going to. So I kind of have to agree with you. I think if he was to come to MLS, it's going to be an expansion club. So yeah, Austin FC is probably a good choice for him.
Well, we will have to wait and see. That's a saga that we'll probably talk about again in the near future. You didn't give your thoughts on Brad Smith. I already told you it was a great decision. best left back in the league last year, and just makes this Sounders team that much more deadly. What are your thoughts on Brad Smith coming back to the Sounders?
Oh, I absolutely love it. I mean, the he really established himself in the time he was with the club, with the supporters. Uh, Him and the club even were able to get an extension from Bournemouth to stay with the club. He was supposed to leave halfway through last season, and they were able to get him to stay with the club until they were knocked out of the playoffs, which didn't happen. They ended up winning the whole thing. And uh, since he's been gone, his Twitter's been blowing up with people saying, come back, we miss you." And he's he had many other offers around the world to for clubs to for him to go play with them, but he said it was the Sounders supporters that really made him feel at home, and also the fact he still had friendships on the club that he constantly kept in contact with, and so coming back to the Sounders was a very easy choice for him.
It's very cool to see a player be that inspired by a club's fan base and by um, their name, and for it to be an MLS club, and for him to basically, he came out and said the Sounders family is my family, and that's why he came back, which is super cool to see. I think you're going to see that start to happen all up the Cascadia border. I mean, Portland's got a rich tradition. Vancouver's trying to establish theirs. They're signing some big name Canadians with Cavallini. Um, they were able to really say, "Hey, we want to be Canadian strong." And so, Brad Smith is just proof that the method works. That Seattle's going in the right direction, and that Cascadia is the place people want to play in the U.S.
And that's what we love to see up here in Cascadia is we would like to see the three-headed monster where everyone wants to come play for our clubs. So that's going to be our show. We would love to hear what you guys have to say about everything that we talked about with the FIFA 21 news with Portland getting Providence Park in there. Where's Yedlin going? And your thoughts on Brad Smith coming back to Seattle. That's going to be our show. And always, go Cascadia.